he's effectively admitting that Obamacare is not working.
We are back in the Heritage Studio, joined by Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. So we appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
It's great to have the chance to visit.
Defunding Obamacare. We know this doesn't work. I don't think that's really news to anyone. Now we're seeing politicians on both sides of the aisle trying to pull out them and their families. Let's hear your rundown on this. What do we need to know?
Well, Obamacare isn't working, and there is widespread bipartisan agreement on that front. The lead Senate author of Obamacare, Democrat Max Baucus, described it as, quote, a huge train wreck. The president of the Teamsters, James Hoffa, said Obamacare is destroying the 40-hour work week that is the backbone of the American middle class. And even President Obama has been forced to admit failure when just a few weeks ago he unilaterally, without any basis in law, suspended Obamacare, the employer mandate, for large corporations, corporations with 50 or more employees. Now, in doing so, he's effectively admitting that Obamacare is not working. And what he did is he suspended it until after the next election, which effectively says, look, if Obamacare were a good thing, President Obama and the Democrats would want the employer mandate to kick in before the next election.
You just spoke downstairs at our Heritage Bloggers briefing, and you made a really interesting parallel that I really liked about Obama kind of barreling through with Obamacare, and there's a parallel there with what he's doing with gun control. What can you tell us about that?
Well, sure. There is a new paradigm in Washington, which is that the most effective tool in terms of changing decision-making in Washington is the engagement of the grassroots, is the grassroots getting motivated and speaking out and forcing our elected representatives to listen to us. Earlier this year, we saw a battle over guns, and following the tragic shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, President Obama made a decision not to go after violent criminals, which I think was the right response, to go after violent criminals, come down on them like a ton of bricks.
Right.
But instead of doing that, President Obama decided to attempt to restrict the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms of law-abiding citizens. And he pushed an aggressive anti-gun agenda. When the American people get mobilized, we can cause our elected officials to listen to us and to actually defend the principles that they're telling us they believe in. How does that apply to defunding Obamacare? Well, the truth of the matter is right now, if the vote were held today, we don't have the votes in Congress. We don't have the votes in the Senate. We don't have the votes in the House. Why? Because a lot of Republicans are scared of this fight. They're scared of this fight because they don't want to be blamed for a government shutdown.